Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. It is 1 p.m. Central, and that means it's dry. Yes, sir. So we're excited to have you on. We'll give it about a minute and let everybody kind of trickle in. I know we have a large group that have registered for the event. Excited to talk to you all about the power of having the right coach. So,
or being the right coach, right? Or setting it
being
up
the
to where
right
your
coach.
coaches, where your coaches are super effective. But while people are trickling in, Jim, I just wanted to say real quick how much we appreciate that you guys enjoy this. If you're sharing this with other people that could learn a little bit from, having the ability to get out there and talk about some things that are going on in their organization, maybe even just kick the tires on some different ideas or different ways of thinking about the solutions to the problems that we have. Problems or opportunities, why not, right? But this is great. It's been great for Jim and I were just talking about this earlier this week. How these are really important to us that we get to share this with you, and glad all are coming back to be joining for the first time. So thank you so much for being here. Right?
Absolutely, we're excited to be here. For those of you that don't know us, and if this is your first time on, welcome to our we have a different way of looking at things. It's not like your typical JJ Keller webinar. We like to open up the mics and have some discussions and more of a town hall format to allow you guys to ask questions and answer different aspects of things. But I just want to
might have a few. We might have a few questions too, right?
So. Absolutely. Yeah, we learn from these town halls as well, listening to you all. So we're excited. So I'll start, and then I'll pass it over to my partner and our SME, Brandon. But I am Jim Warsdale. I am the senior manager of training services here at JJ Keller. I've been in the 23 years, time in safety, operations, and supply chain. So been on the operations side, been on the safety side as a director of safety for a small family-run company here in Florida. I'm out of Tampa, Florida area. So yeah, very excited to be part of the conversation, and I'll pass the mic over to Brandon.
It's good to be here. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Janice, for putting this together as well. She is our engineer in the background right now. If you do want to, we have Don Shula's driver training coaches. That's great. Thanks, Janice. I'm Brandon Wooden. I've been in the industry for about 32 years now, maybe pushing 33 now as a driver, a driving coach. I've written curriculum for driver training programs as well as being a CDL examiner in the state of Missouri. I currently reside in Southwest Missouri, and really happy to be able to share some of the stuff that we've seen in our careers. And as we start to look at this in the industry, the only thing that I can possibly say is that it's time that everybody starts to think about on the way that adults learn, the way that adults affect to the role that they're playing, or move into that role that they need to be moving into for the first time. And the way they're led there is incredibly important, just to see that they have a really good relationship with your company, with your safety culture. So that's what this is about, and I'm awfully glad to be here sharing the screen with Jim Warsdale, absolutely operations guy, and I learn from him all the time. So
well, we talk about this a ton, and we'll let the group know that we're part of an organization that has been part of a driver training group for 6 years now, and you and I were the two architects of the orientation program that was coaching coaches. We were teaching coaches how to operate, how to learn, how to present, how to be professional. And it's a big deal. So this is a conversation we love to have. We have it all too often. So I'm excited just to start it off. So, but Before we get started, Brandon, I'd like you to talk a little bit about the last topic we talked
Oh
about.
yeah,
Yeah, the
sure.
training program. How do we build a training program?
Absolutely. And if you're going to talk about coaching, you've got to talk about the training program. We'll do that a little bit on the next slide as well. How do you know that yours is set up for success? But it is really important, especially for coaches, to start to realize some fundamentals of the adult education process or the adult learning process. And the one that I think is truly fundamental is that adult learners need to know, why am I learning this and how am I going to apply it immediately after I learn it. One of Janice's favorite phrases. I'm coming up with a different one for you too, Janice, just to let you know. But this one is called the Alice Cooper effect, that a lot of times people learn something just to take the test. As soon as they've taken the test, school's out forever and they don't remember a thing. Any of y'all that are on the call that schools know this. It's not necessarily that the CDL school did a bad job. They don't teach everything, but it's sometimes just that the learner is there to pass their CDL, and now they come to you and they have to learn it all again. This is what I call the Alice Cooper effect. They learned everything to take the test. As soon as the test is over, school's out forever, and we've got to repeat everything. So again, when we're looking at that, how to create buy-in, include them, expect things from them. If you're setting expectations and you have expectations, then more times than not, people will rise to those expectations. If your standards are really, really low to begin with, or you don't expect anything or anything like that, then they will rise to those as well. So a lot of times creating buy-in just simply means having those expectations, and then demonstrate it. We'll talk about this in coaching as well. You've got to be that representative that says, this is how we think about things here. If you have coaches that are working for you or anybody in your organization that seems to be acting that you have at your organization, oh my goodness, talk about, talking the talk but not walking the walk, or trying to, I guess, walk and chew gum at the same time, or whatever you'd be trying to do there. But don't let anything trip you up if you get this thing started. Make sure that everybody is on the same page. This includes dispatchers. This includes anybody that's working on corrective action programs. We all know what the mission is. We all know who's important. And I think that's incredibly important for creating buy-in. What does that do for you? I'm going to tell you, it is absolutely that key factor in effective training. And this is just because without buy-in, it's going to go in one ear and out the other, guys. I've seen it way too many times with people in a safety meeting and they've got their arms folded like, Jim, you've seen this too in operations meetings where people's got their arms folded like this, or they're arguing. Now, sometimes I will say this, sometimes arguing is really just the way that somebody is figuring out how to put this into practice. So just because somebody is presenting arguments, don't discount that as they are criticizing anything. A lot of people, especially adults, they learn by kind of wrestling with it a little bit. If they want to know something and they want to know how to apply it, run it through, say, well, what about this and what about this and what about this? So embrace those challenges. And a lot of times coaches will know how to do that as well. They'll say, I love it that I love it that you're arguing this stuff out. Jim, we talked about on the last call, Mike Kiltz, how we had this one trainer and he was just arms folded. No, 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 no. So what did we do? Said, hey, Mike, try it for a week and tell me what's wrong with it. And that created all the buy-in that we needed so that we all came together and we knew what Mike was looking for. We knew that he knew what to do next. So last week we talked about building a training program. Now let's talk a little bit about what it means to have coaches in the right position. One thing we didn't mention, you and I, Jim, get to talking on all this kind of stuff, but we love to hear feedback from you. We love it if you want to raise your hand, add anything, ask questions about what's going on in your organization. If you brought questions into this call, type them into the chat, raise your hand, and unmute your mic. We'd love to hear from you while we're talking.
it worked, or we had some conversations around this and it seemed to go well. Assist you with that. So
let's see if you help that thing that you took from that thing and applied it or put it in place. Jock Wheeler, raising your hand. Hold that thought. I'm going to hope that I hope I didn't mess up your name too bad. I apologize again. Yeah, great. So no mic. Is it?
Travis from North Carolina.
Have you here. Good to have you here. Well, Jackie, if you want to type your question or concern or anything like that, we're happy to. That's one of the things we want to do is get your questions. It's like we have Trevor. Okay up there. I didn't know if you wanted to jump in and say something, but it's good to have you here.
Vicky Keener.
Hey, Vicky is here.
Vicky, and how are you? Good to see you.
Got Dusty Kashard on here again too, so we've got a couple of return. Really happy to have you guys here.
Good to see you guys.
All right, and real quick, the mics have now been enabled, so go ahead and unmute if you have questions.
Unmute your mic, and if you have a question. All right. Well, we'll get started. If you don't have any questions, hello. It's good to have everybody on. So we're going to jump right in.
Wait, I am so sorry. I pronounced that incredibly wrong.
Okay.
Talk to us about your program. Tell us what's going on.
Yes, I'm new to Manhattan Beer and Beverage.
Okay.
Originally from Jersey. I'm back from Georgia, coming from Waste Management.
Wow. Well, excellent. Thanks for jumping on. Manhattan Beer. We're very familiar with them. We work on a number of different fronts.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you.
So Jaquay, are you doing entry-level driver training then? Like the CDL school? Are you guys still kind of working with drivers to obtain their CDL license? What it look like?
So we're no longer doing the driver training program, but more focused on re-coaching and bringing down those red hot drivers and to kind of training our drivers, because after the 10-year 5 or 10 they get kind of comfortable. So just making sure that our new drivers that are new onboarding 1 year are trained properly, and then the 10-year drivers, we kind of retrain them so they can get rid of the bad habits.
I love it. That is absolutely fits into a lot of what we talk about in our Principles of Defensive Driving program, is how that initial setup gives somebody everything that, you can't give them everything. If you try to give them everything, the book is too thick, right? Mm-hmm. But can you create a behavior that aligns with safe behaviors that your company believes in? And being new on the call, please look at some of our, you can look at some of the transcripts or some of the previous videos as well. I think we talk about setting up your safety program, setting up a strong safety culture. That was one of our messages. When you've got a good start with that, that's what everything builds off of. But it is incredibly important that your coaches and leadership knows what it is we're trying to. It's kind of everywhere. We're just coaching stuff like it's a blizzard that we're running through, and we're just coaching stuff as it happens. But the most effective coaching that we see is coaching that says, here's the way to start to do this. And then it has those things in common with corrective action as well. If you don't have those kind of principles set from the very beginning, everything, including onboarding, starts to sound like corrective action. And I've been in a lot of these before where you're on this thing and suddenly it's, you know, well, you should never do this and you should never do this and you should never do this. Wait a second. You didn't even ask me my name first. And all of a sudden you're talking to me about all the stuff that I'm potentially going to do wrong. And that's just building a lot of assumptions. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I was speaking with Amy just to make sure that we have our 30, 60, 90 for the new drivers set up, and then kind of keep revisiting that for the 10-year drivers too, like setting the expectation, but making sure we're giving them the developmental skills as they progress and certain issues arise throughout time with the company.
I love that. Coach by asking good questions too. One of the things that we talk about in our Principles of Defensive Driving program is how the coach that is able to ask questions that opens up somebody to be able to start to get into the action a little bit on the coaching. Think about coaching kind of like if you were coaching an individual athlete. I know this is a little bit of a stretch, so just go with me for a minute or two, if you would. If what you do is you start to think that every driver, there are team driving situations as well, but every single driver out there has what they do in that moment with equipment to get a job done. This is very similar to, let's say, a golfer with golf clubs that's trying to get through the golf course by taking the right shots, correcting mistakes as they happen, anticipating what the wind, everything is doing on that course. They have a caddy, and a caddy can be a great coach for a golfer, but at the equipment and used to there's a Netflix show called Formula One Drive First. Anybody ever watch that show, Formula One Drive to? I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying those out loud. Janice will get on to me later. But anyway, this is where you've got the coach in your comms, right? But then you're driving the car and giving as much feedback for what's going on as there is coming from the coach on what to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
Excellent. Well,
and the relatability for the drivers also. So I myself am a CDL holder, and my license is fully loaded. So a lot of times the relatability for the drivers, I have every endorsement there is to have. So kind of when they see that I'm relatable, I can get behind the wheel and actually do what we're expecting of them. It allows them to, be easier on me because they see a woman in this industry and be like, you don't know what she's talking about.
I'm glad you. That is it's just an extra step, and I hate to say it that way, but it's an extra step, generally speaking, that we see that females need to say, dude, you ain't got nothing on me. I've got every single endorsement on this thing, and you can learn from me. So that's the important thing, though, as a coach, is to say, can they learn from you? Believe that, have that in your heart, that you can learn from me. And when you've got that, that's what starts to set the condition of coaching between you and the person you're trying to coach. If I don't think I can learn from you, I'm afraid I'm not going to learn from you. And it's really important to start to set that together with good conversations that you can do.
Yeah, they block you out from the beginning if they don't think they can learn from you.
They sure will.
From the jump, you're building your resume at that point. You're proving to them that you have the skill set and the knowledge to be able to handle the training class. We do it in all of our training classes. At any time we have a new learner in a class, that's what we do. We have to earn the instructions. It's no different than you all in your safety cultures and in the safety world. So it is so important that and you're walking the talk. So that's another level of it. So kudos to you for that.
Yes, absolutely. We've got Jay. I'm trying to find a name here. James, yes, jump in. How are you today, sir?
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Jim, obviously. Just wanted to jump on this call. First time caller. So we are using JJ Keller. We just looking to do some training for our drivers. And again, this coaching, I think, is fantastic. That's kind of the direction we're taking. We just put new ELDs in our trucks with cameras, so we're getting a ton of information. And how do we handle that information? And again, you have a driver that's with you and been driving 30 years. How do we coach that driver?
I love it.
Thing, you know, and it's, you can't say, you got it's been working very, very well. I was surprised how well it's working. It just
Embrace. This is but this is really the